I know very, very clearly what the CDAC network does for me and my work. Hitting the ground in a response as a consortium of partners or a collaboration, it's just so much easier now. This is probably the first time I've seen on scale the ability for basically all CDAC members to be heavily engaged, and then secondly look to local capacity and resources and not duplicate but use them, support them and ensure they're at the front of the project. And CDAC Network can pull all this together at a pace that I couldn't or others don't.
CDAC Network has a role in sort of connecting people, making people aware that coming from a different angle, whether you're like a service provider, like having a very specific mandate as an organization, or as a more communication-based organization.
Good communication though in a crisis has to be well coordinated, and there has to be good partnerships between the different responding agencies, whether they're media agencies or humanitarian agencies or governments. And CDAC Network is a place that can bring together and build relationships between these different kinds of organizations, which I think is critical for a really effective and coordinated communication response.
The CDAC network is very well aligned with where humanitarian action should be going. If you communicate with people in need and local organizations, you start to see there are partners on the ground who we as outside partners need to be supporting.
Communicating with communities is what we're about. We add in the right language because if you're not communicating with people in a language they understand, you're not actually communicating. And that's also, CDAC has also allowed us to advocate for our message and to tell people, listen, this is really important, and then get that message out further throughout the CWC community.
It brings people together, it brings projects together, it's a place where we can share experiences, where we can debate, it's a safe environment, and I think this is something very critical in our way to learn and to be better. CDAC Network is a perfect platform for bringing people together and try to have a better partnership or maybe collaboration, I would say.
You have an incredible reach to so many different agencies and so many different parts of that network that you can pull on like a huge amount of experience, skills, expertise, and also a lot of creativity and buzz and energy that you get from people who come together for things that they actually agree with, but they don't have to formally institutionalize, which is another great thing about networks.
CDAC network members have in-country partners, and strengthening this relationship within the country would strengthen preparedness and make people resilient and be more involved in the disaster response and preparedness.
The CDAC network has been instrumental in pushing the conversation from why information is a form of aid in its own right to how we can make it happen.
What CDAC is doing now in Bangladesh and South Sudan in terms of preparedness, it is also raising the point that preparedness is actually not just sitting down and say, well, how do we prepare for the next earthquake, the next tsunami? Preparedness is actually about who is around that can respond in a crisis situation on the ground.
In Bangladesh, all the NGOs and including Rescue Center and government, they're working together and make a model for communication with the community. Previously, sometimes people are confused which information is right one or which one they will take. And we are introducing Songjog with the help of CDAC to make the information uniform and to disseminate it uniformly to the community. By doing this, we are making the communication very much easier and uniform, and more or less it's comprehensive and it's simple.
Engaging with communities, communicating with communities, listening to communities. This should be mainstreamed into your bread and butter day-to-day work, whether you're a UN agency or an NGO or a media development partner or a network, whatever you might be.
I would hope that's a model that the humanitarian community, the UN coordination structure would see as valuable. And I think a humanitarian coordinator in a situation should have probably somebody in their office who is a communication and local networks advisor.
I highly value. I think it's been, for me, it's unprecedented to have this almost imaginary secretariat and network around the globe that I'd heard about stepping into my job, but then all of a sudden you realize there is a whole bunch of experts, fun, interesting people that have the skills and the experience on tap.
It's a great network. I think it needs to flourish.